The massive ship called Celestial Harmony floated quietly in the Helix Nebula. The ship was bigger than most cities on Earth. It sparkled with lights from a dozen different alien species who had come here for one purpose. They wanted to make peace. Ambassador Elena Vasquez walked down the long hallway toward the main meeting room. Her boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. Behind her walked 6 humans in dark uniforms. The leader was Marcus Chen, a man with calm eyes and steady hands. The other aliens did not pay much attention to the humans. Elena had been preparing for this meeting for 2 years. Earth was new to space travel. They had only learned to move faster than light 5 years ago. Now they wanted to join the Galactic Council. But first they had to prove they belonged. The meeting room was enormous. It had seats for representatives from 12 different species. Each group looked very different from the others. The Veltar looked like walking crystals that made musical sounds when they moved. The Kresh had sharp teeth and yellow eyes like wolves. The Zephyrians had blue skin and no hair. The Thornbacks had armor like insects. "The humans are here," announced Ambassador Thex of the Veltar. His voice sounded like wind chimes. "How interesting." Elena smiled and bowed her head. "Thank you for allowing us to attend this summit. Earth looks forward to peaceful cooperation with all species." High Commander Grax of the Kresh laughed. It was not a nice sound. "Peaceful cooperation? You come from a death world. Your planet kills everything that lives on it. Storms, earthquakes, volcanoes. How did such weak creatures survive?" "We adapted," Elena said simply. "Adapted," repeated Ambassador Thex. "Yes, we have read your files. Your species shows interesting emotional responses. You cry when sad. You laugh when happy. Such simple reactions." Marcus Chen stood behind Elena. He did not speak, but his eyes watched everything. He noticed where each alien sat. He counted how many guards they brought. He looked at the exits. Old habits. The meeting began with trade discussions. Each species wanted different things. The Veltar wanted rare metals. The Kresh wanted hunting rights in outer systems. The Thornbacks wanted mining permits. Everyone spoke for hours about borders and treaties. Elena listened carefully. Sometimes she asked questions. What happens if someone breaks the treaty? She wanted to know. "The violator faces consequences," said High Commander Grax. "We have ways of making species obey." "What kind of ways?" Elena asked. The aliens looked at each other. "Force," said Grax simply. "Those who cannot defend themselves become servants to those who can." Elena nodded but said nothing. Behind her, Marcus Chen's expression did not change. Hours passed. The aliens argued about many things. They raised their voices. Some threatened to leave. Elena watched it all happen. She had seen this before in human politics. Everyone wanted to look strong. During a break, Elena walked to the observation deck with Marcus. Outside the windows, they could see the colorful gases of the nebula. It was beautiful but empty. "No planets, no life, no help if something went wrong. What do you think?" Elena asked Marcus. "They think we're weak," Marcus said. "They think we got lucky finding space travel. They don't understand what humans really are." "What are we really?" Elena asked. Marcus looked out at the empty space. "Survivors." When they returned to the meeting, the aliens were still arguing. The Thornback representative was angry about mining rights. The Zephyrian wanted better trade routes. The Veltar kept making musical sounds that meant they disagreed with everything. Elena sat down and waited. She had learned long ago that the best negotiators were patient. Let others show their cards first. Let them reveal what they really wanted. "The humans are very quiet," observed Ambassador Thex. "Do you have opinions on these matters?" "We're here to learn," Elena said. "Earth is new to galactic politics. We want to understand how things work before we make suggestions." High Commander Grax laughed again. "Smart. Know your place, little mammals." Marcus Chen's jaw tightened slightly. Elena saw it but kept her face calm. The meeting continued late into the ship's artificial night cycle. Finally, the aliens agreed to take a long break. They would continue tomorrow. Each species went back to their quarters. Elena and her team had rooms in the human section of the ship. As they walked there, Marcus moved closer to her. "Something feels wrong," he said quietly. "What do you mean?" "This meeting location. It's too far from any help. Too isolated. If someone wanted to attack a gathering like this..." Elena stopped walking. "You think someone might try something?" "I think we should be ready for anything," Marcus said. That's all. In her room, Elena looked out the window again. The nebula was beautiful, but Marcus was right. They were very far from any friendly ships, very far from any help. She thought about the day's meetings. The aliens clearly saw humans as weak newcomers. They thought Earth had gotten lucky with technology. They had no idea what humans had survived to get here. Wars, plagues, natural disasters, ice ages. Humans had lived through everything their planet could throw at them. Elena smiled. Maybe it was better if the aliens kept thinking humans were weak. Sometimes the best advantage was being underestimated. She went to sleep thinking about home, about the long road that had brought humanity to the stars, about the strength hidden behind human smiles. Outside her window, the nebula swirled in patterns of red and gold. Deep in space, other ships moved in the darkness, ships that had been waiting for the right moment. The summit was about to become something very different. Elena woke to flashing red lights and a loud alarm. The sound hurt her ears. She jumped out of bed and grabbed her clothes. Down the hallway, she could hear running footsteps and shouting voices. She pressed the communication button on her wall. "Marcus, what's happening?" "We're under attack," came his calm voice. "Multiple ships." They came out of nowhere. "Get to the safe room now." Elena finished dressing and opened her door. The hallway was full of aliens running in different directions. Some were screaming. Others were making the strange sounds of their species when afraid. The Veltar were making high-pitched musical notes that sounded like breaking glass. Marcus appeared at her side. He had his security team with him. All 6 humans looked calm, but Elena could see something different in their eyes. Something sharp and focused. "Who's attacking us?" Elena asked as they moved down the corridor. "They call themselves Reapers," Marcus said. "Ship's computer identified them from old database files. They're supposed to be extinct." Supposed to be? Apparently not. They reached the main meeting hall where all the aliens had gathered. It was chaos. The representatives were arguing loudly about what to do. Some wanted to surrender. Others wanted to fight. None of them seemed to have a plan. Captain Zorish, the ship's commander, was trying to maintain order. He was a tall, thin alien with purple skin and 4 arms. "Please, everyone, calm down. We are trying to establish communication with the attacking vessels." "Communication?" High Commander Grax growled. "Reapers don't communicate. They take what they want." "What do they want?" Elena asked. The room went quiet. All the aliens looked at her. "Slaves," said Ambassador Thex, his crystal body dimming with fear. "Reapers capture entire crews and sell them across the galaxy. They are pirates of the worst kind." Elena felt her stomach drop. "How many ships?" 15, Captain Zorish said. "They have us completely surrounded. Our weapon systems are damaged. Life support is failing in several sections." Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Everyone fell down except the humans, who kept their balance. More alarms started ringing. "They're boarding us," Marcus said, checking a small device on his wrist. "Multiple breach points. They'll be here in minutes." The aliens began to panic even more. Some were crying. Others were praying in their native languages. The Kresh warriors were growling and showing their teeth, but Elena could see fear in their eyes too. "What do we do?" asked Ambassador Thex. Everyone looked around at each other. The aliens had security guards, but not many. Most of them were diplomats, not fighters. They had never expected something like this. "We have 18 security personnel total," Captain Zorish said. "The Reapers have at least 200 fighters. We cannot resist them effectively." "Maybe we should surrender," said the Zephyrian representative. "Negotiate for our lives." "Reapers don't negotiate," High Commander Grax said. "They take everything. Ship, cargo, crew. We will all be slaves within the hour." Elena looked at Marcus. He was listening to something in his earpiece. His face was completely calm, but she could see his muscles getting ready for action. "How many humans do you have?" Captain Zorish asked Marcus. 6 security personnel, Marcus replied, plus the ambassador. 7 people, Captain Zorish said sadly. "Against 200 trained killers. I am sorry, humans. We are all doomed." The ship shook again. This time they could hear weapons fire in the distance. Screaming voices. The sounds of battle getting closer. "Captain," Marcus said quietly, "I need to ask you something." "What?" "Are you willing to authorize my team to use any necessary force to protect the diplomatic mission?" Captain Zorish looked confused. "Any necessary force? You have only 6 people. What can you possibly do?" Marcus looked at Elena. She saw something in his eyes that made her think of Earth's history. Of humans fighting impossible odds and winning anyway. "Ambassador," Marcus said formally, "I request permission to engage full tactical protocols." Elena understood. She had heard rumors about what human special forces could do, stories that seemed impossible. But looking at Marcus now, she believed every one of them. "Permission granted," she said. "Do whatever you have to do," Marcus nodded. He spoke into his communication device. "All units, this is Alpha. We are authorized for Hunter Protocol." "Repeat, Hunter Protocol is active." The other 5 humans moved closer. Suddenly they looked different. The calm, polite security guards were gone. In their place stood something else. Something dangerous. "What is Hunter Protocol?" Ambassador Thex asked nervously. Marcus smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "You're about to find out." The sounds of fighting got louder. Enemy voices shouting in harsh languages, weapons firing, people screaming. The Reapers were getting closer to the main hall. "Everyone stay here," Marcus told the aliens. "Do not leave this room unless we come back for you." "Where are you going?" Elena asked. "Hunting," Marcus said simply. The 6 humans checked their weapons and equipment. They moved with perfect coordination, like parts of a single machine. No wasted motion, no unnecessary talk. Elena had seen human soldiers before, but never like this. The main doors burst open. 3 Reaper soldiers came through carrying energy weapons. They were large, covered in black armor, with red eyes glowing behind their helmets. The aliens screamed and tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The Reapers raised their weapons to fire, and then something happened that none of the aliens would ever forget. The humans moved. Marcus reached the first Reaper before the alien could pull his trigger. His hand struck like lightning, and the Reaper's weapon went flying. Another human appeared behind the second Reaper like a ghost. The third Reaper tried to turn around but found a human already there waiting for him. In less than 5 seconds, all 3 Reapers were on the ground. They were not dead, but they were not getting up either. The aliens stared in shock. The humans had moved faster than anyone thought possible. "Faster than even the Kresh warriors. How did you do that?" High Commander Grax whispered. Marcus picked up one of the Reaper weapons and checked it. "We evolved for this," he said calmly. Every human did. More sounds of fighting came from the corridors, but now they sounded different. More controlled. More deadly. "Stay here," Marcus told Elena. "We'll be back." The 6 humans disappeared into the ship's corridors. The aliens were left alone with their fear, wondering what they had just witnessed. Outside, the hunt had begun. The aliens huddled together in the main hall, listening to sounds they did not understand. At first, there had been lots of shooting and shouting from the Reapers. Now there was mostly silence, broken by brief moments of violence that ended quickly. Elena moved among the diplomatic representatives, trying to keep them calm. But she was having trouble staying calm herself. She had never seen humans fight like that before. The speed, the precision, the complete transformation from peaceful diplomats to something else entirely. "What are your people doing out there?" Ambassador Thex asked, his crystal body flickering with nervous energy. "Their job," Elena said simply. Captain Zorish was monitoring his ship's systems from a portable device. "This is impossible," he muttered. "According to my sensors, the human team is moving through the ship systematically, deck by deck. They have neutralized 47 Reaper boarders in the past 15 minutes. 47? High Commander Grax could not hide the surprise in his voice. 6 humans against 47 Reapers? "The sensors must be wrong," said the Thornback representative. "No species can fight with such efficiency, not even the Kresh." Elena remembered something Marcus had told her during their training back on Earth. "Human beings are persistence hunters," he had said. "We evolved to chase prey until it collapses from exhaustion. We don't give up. We don't stop. We just keep coming until we win." She had thought he was talking about running. Now she understood he meant much more than that. Over the ship's communication system, they could hear brief transmissions from Marcus and his team. The voices were calm, professional, almost bored. "Alpha to Beta, Corridor 7 clear. Moving to Deck 3. Charlie to Alpha, Engineering Section secured. 16 hostiles neutralized. Delta to all units. Found their command post. Taking it now." Each transmission was followed by silence. Then inevitably another section of the ship would go quiet on the sensors. "How are they doing this?" Captain Zorish asked. "My security teams were overwhelmed in minutes. The Reapers are professional killers. They have better weapons, better armor, better training. Elena thought about human history, about species that had tried to conquer Earth and failed, about predators that had hunted humans and gone extinct instead. They have better equipment, she said. We have better instincts. On the ship's internal monitors, they caught glimpses of the human team in action. The footage was brief and unclear, but what they saw made the aliens go silent with shock. Marcus appeared around a corner where 5 Reapers were setting up an ambush. Instead of retreating or calling for help, he attacked immediately. He moved like water, flowing around their weapons, striking precisely at weak points in their armor. In seconds, all 5 Reapers were down. Another screen showed 2 humans working together to clear a corridor full of enemies. They moved without speaking, each one anticipating what the other would do. They used the ship's architecture against their enemies, turning every doorway and corner into a trap. They fight like a pack, High Commander Grax observed, like hunters who have worked together for years. How long have your soldiers trained together? Ambassador Thex asked Elena. They met for the first time 3 weeks ago, Elena replied. The alien stared at her. Impossible, said the Zephyrian representative. No species can coordinate so perfectly without extensive practice. Elena smiled. You're thinking like civilized beings. Humans learn to hunt in packs before we learn to speak. Before we learn to make tools. Before we learn to make fire. It's not training. It's genetics. The ship shuddered as another Reaper assault team was eliminated. Captain Zorish checked his sensors again. Remarkable, he whispered. They have taken back 60% of the ship. The Reapers are starting to retreat to their boarding craft. Retreating? High Commander Grax could not believe it. Reapers never retreat. They fight until they win or die. They're fighting something they don't understand, Elena said. Something outside their experience. Over the communication system, they heard Marcus's voice again. But this time he sounded different. Colder. All units, this is Alpha. The enemy is trying to escape. We are not going to let that happen. Elena felt a chill. She had heard that tone before. In old recordings of human soldiers, it was the voice of predators who had decided their prey would not escape. Surely you will let them go now, said Ambassador Thex. They are retreating. The threat is over, Elena shook her head. The threat isn't over until they can't threaten anyone else. The aliens looked at her in confusion. In their cultures, defeated enemies were allowed to surrender or retreat. It was civilized behavior. Your people fight until the enemy gives up, Elena explained. Humans fight until the enemy can't continue. On the monitors, they watched the human team pursuing the retreating Reapers. The aliens had expected the humans to be satisfied with driving off the attackers. Instead, the humans were hunting them down methodically, ensuring that none of them could regroup or escape to attack other ships. This is how your species survived on a death world, Captain Zorish said with growing understanding. You did not just adapt to danger. You became the danger. Elena nodded. Every human child learns about persistence hunting in school. We think it's just history. But it's not history. It's who we are. The ship's systems began coming back online as the humans retook critical areas. Life support stabilized. Weapons came back online. The celestial harmony was no longer helpless. Final count, Marcus reported over the communication system. 137 enemy combatants neutralized. 63 captured. 0 escaped back to their ships. 0 escaped. The aliens looked at each other in shock. What happens now? Ambassador Thex asked. Elena was about to answer when Marcus and his team returned to the main hall. They looked exactly the same as when they had left. Calm, professional, slightly tired. There was no sign of the deadly efficiency they had just displayed. Area secured, Marcus reported to Elena. All diplomatic personnel are safe. The ship is under our control. Casualties? Elena asked. None on our side. The Reapers have 43 injured, but they'll recover. The rest chose to surrender when they realized they couldn't win. High Commander Grax stared at Marcus. You took this entire ship back from 200 professional killers and none of you were even hurt? Marcus shrugged. We had advantages they didn't understand. What advantages? Ambassador Thex demanded. You had no superior technology. No greater numbers. What advantages? Marcus looked at the aliens for a moment as if deciding how much to tell them. We're persistence hunters, he said finally. We evolved to pursue prey across any terrain and any conditions for as long as it takes. We don't get tired. We don't give up. We don't make mistakes when we're hunting. He paused, looking at each alien representative. And we always hunt in packs. The aliens were silent, processing what they had witnessed. Elena could see their opinions of humanity changing in real time. They were no longer looking at weak newcomers who had gotten lucky with technology. They were looking at apex predators who had chosen to be diplomatic. The aftermath of the battle revealed things about humans that the aliens had never imagined. While the diplomats sat in shocked silence, Marcus and his team efficiently processed the captured Reapers and secured the ship. Elena watched them work with growing amazement. They had not just won the fight. They had controlled every aspect of it. Captain Zorish was reviewing the ship's sensor logs with disbelief. According to these readings, your people never acted randomly. Every movement was planned. Every attack was coordinated. Even when they were separated by half the ship, they moved like a single organism. Marcus was checking his equipment while listening to the conversation. Persistence hunting requires perfect coordination, he said without looking up. If one hunter makes a mistake, the prey escapes and the whole pack starves. Humans learn not to make mistakes. Elena walked over to join him. I had no idea, she said quietly. I thought special forces training made you different. I didn't realize all humans could do this. Marcus smiled. All humans can do this. Most of us just never need to. High Commander Grax was interrogating one of the captured Reapers. The alien pirate was large, heavily muscled, with scars covering his armor. He had been terrifying when he first boarded the ship. Now he looked nervous and confused. Your species has never encountered humans before, Grax was saying. What do you think of them now? The Reaper spoke in a harsh, guttural language. Captain Zorish provided translation through the ship's computer. He says the humans are not natural. He says they move like ghosts and strike like lightning. He says his people have conquered dozens of species, but nothing like this. Elena approached the captured Reaper. Through the translator, she asked, What will you tell your leaders about today? The Reaper looked at her for a long moment before answering. I will tell them to avoid human space, the translation came. I will tell them that humans are not prey. They are something else. What kind of something else? Elena pressed. The Reaper's answer chilled everyone in the room. They are what we would be if we had never stopped evolving. Ambassador Thex approached Elena with questions that had been building in his mind. Your people seem to enjoy the fighting, he observed. They showed no fear, no hesitation. Do humans not experience these emotions? Elena considered the question carefully. We experience fear, she said. But we learn to use it differently. Fear makes prey animals run away. Fear makes predators more dangerous. Marcus finished his equipment check and joined the conversation. The fear response gives us better reflexes, sharper senses, more strength. Evolution trained us to get stronger when we're threatened, not weaker. The Thornback representative had been studying the captured Reaper weapons. These are military-grade energy weapons, he announced. They can penetrate any armor we know of. How did your people avoid being killed? We weren't wearing armor, Marcus replied simply. This statement shocked the aliens even more than anything else they had witnessed. No armor? Captain Zorish stammered. You fought professional killers with superior weapons and you weren't even wearing protection? Armor slows you down, Marcus explained. Makes you think you're safe when you're not. We preferred to not get hit at all. Elena was beginning to understand the full scope of what had happened. You turned the entire ship into a hunting ground, she said to Marcus. You knew every corridor, every room, every hiding spot before the fighting even started. Marcus nodded. We memorized the ship's layout on the first day. Standard procedure, always know your environment better than your enemy does. But this was supposed to be a diplomatic mission. Ambassador Thex protested. Why would you prepare for combat? Because anything can happen, Marcus said. And when it does, we're ready. High Commander Grax had been unusually quiet during these conversations. Finally, he spoke up. I need to ask you something directly, he said to Elena. Are all humans capable of what we witnessed today? Elena looked at Marcus, who nodded slightly. Yes, she said. Every human has these abilities. Some are better trained than others, but the basic capabilities are universal. Even you? Grax pressed. You are a diplomat, not a soldier. Elena smiled. I spent 4 years in the Earth military before joining the diplomatic corps. I could have joined Marcus's team if needed. The aliens absorbed this information in stunned silence. They had assumed the 6 human security personnel were specialists. unusual examples of their species. Learning that every human was a potential warrior changed everything. Captain Zorish was reviewing more sensor data. "The Reaper fleet is still surrounding us," he announced. 15 ships with full crews. What do we do about them? This question had been troubling Elena as well. The immediate threat was over, but the larger problem remained. The Reapers would not simply leave. They would call for reinforcements and try again. "How many Reapers are still on their ships?" Marcus asked. "Approximately 3,000, Captain Zorish replied. "And we have 6 humans," Ambassador Thex said sarcastically. "Surely even your people cannot fight such odds." Marcus was studying a tactical display of the enemy fleet. "We don't need to fight them," he said thoughtfully. "We just need to convince them to leave." "How do you convince 3,000 pirates to abandon their prey?" High Commander Grax wanted to know. Elena watched Marcus's expression and realized he had a plan that probably violated several galactic warfare conventions. "We show them what happened to their boarding teams," Marcus said, "and we explain what will happen to them if they don't leave immediately." Elena understood. "You want to negotiate from a position of strength." "I want to negotiate from a position of overwhelming superiority," Marcus corrected. "There's a difference." Captain Zorish established communication with the Reaper fleet commander. The alien pirate appeared on the main screen, his face covered by a metal mask decorated with symbols of death and violence. "I am War Chief Thakron of the Blood Fleet," the Reaper leader announced. "You will surrender my warriors immediately or I will destroy your ship." Elena stepped forward to respond, but Marcus moved beside her. When the Reaper commander saw him, his aggressive posture changed slightly. "I am Marcus Chen, representing Earth's military forces," Marcus said calmly. "Your warriors are safe and will be returned to you. But first we need to discuss terms." "Terms?" Thakron laughed harshly. "You are surrounded by my fleet. You have no position to negotiate from." Marcus smiled the same cold smile Elena had seen before the fighting started. "War Chief Thakron," Marcus said politely, "you sent 200 of your finest warriors to capture this ship. 6 humans defeated all of them without suffering a single casualty. Would you like to know how we did it?" For the first time, the Reaper commander looked uncertain. "More importantly," Marcus continued, "would you like to know what we'll do to your 3,000 remaining warriors if you force us to come over there?" The transmission ended abruptly. The Reaper fleet held position but made no aggressive moves. Elena looked at Marcus with new respect. "You're not going to attack their ships," she said. "You're going to make them imagine what would happen if you did." "Fear of the unknown is more powerful than fear of the known," Marcus agreed. "They've seen what we can do in a defensive situation. Now they're wondering what we could do if we went on the offensive." 20 minutes later, the Reaper fleet began withdrawing from the area. They left without another word, taking their fear and confusion with them. The aliens watched the enemy ships disappear into space, understanding that they had witnessed something unprecedented. For the first time in recorded galactic history, Reapers had been defeated by inferior numbers and forced to retreat without achieving their goals. "This will change everything," Ambassador Thex said quietly. "When news of this spreads, every species in the galaxy will know that humans are not what they appear to be." Elena nodded. "The question is, what are we going to do about it?" The diplomatic summit was about to become something entirely different from what anyone had planned. News of the Reaper defeat spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Within hours, communications were flooding in from dozens of star systems. Everyone wanted to know the same thing. How had 6 humans defeated an entire Reaper assault force? Elena found herself at the center of a diplomatic revolution. The aliens who had dismissed humans as weak emotional creatures now looked at her with a mixture of respect and fear. Every word she spoke carried new weight. The emergency session of the Galactic Summit convened the next morning. But the tone was completely different from the previous day's discussions. No one was arguing about mining rights or trade routes anymore. They were discussing the fundamental balance of power in known space. "The implications are staggering," Ambassador Thex announced to the assembled delegates. "If humans possess such capabilities naturally, without technological enhancement, then we must reconsider every assumption about military doctrine." High Commander Grax stood to address the group. "I have studied warfare for 3 centuries, he said. "I have seen the greatest fighters of a dozen species. What the humans demonstrated yesterday was beyond anything in our experience. Elena listened to the discussions with careful attention. She could see that the aliens were trying to understand not just what humans could do, but what they might choose to do with their abilities. Captain Zorish presented his analysis of the battle recordings. The human team displayed coordination that our computers classify as impossible, he reported. They shared information instantaneously, adapted to changing situations without communication, and maintained perfect tactical awareness throughout the engagement. How do they do it? Demanded the Thornback representative. What technology allows such coordination? Marcus, who had been sitting quietly behind Elena, spoke for the first time that day. No technology, he said simply. Just instinct. The room fell silent. Even now, after everything they had witnessed, the aliens struggled to accept that humans could perform such feats naturally. Elena decided it was time for complete honesty. Before humans developed civilization, we spent millions of years as hunters, she explained. We hunted animals larger and stronger than ourselves. We couldn't outrun them or overpower them individually, so we learned to work together perfectly. She gestured to Marcus and his team. Every human child plays games that teach these skills. Hide and seek teaches stealth and awareness. Tag teaches pursuit and evasion. Team sports teach coordination and strategy. We think they're just games, but they're really training for what you witnessed yesterday. Ambassador Thex's crystalline form flickered with what Elena had learned to recognize as deep thought. You are saying that all humans are natural-born warriors? We're saying that all humans are natural-born survivors, Elena corrected. We can be warriors when necessary, but we prefer not to be. This distinction seemed important to the aliens. High Commander Grax leaned forward with interest. Explain the difference, he requested. Elena looked at Marcus, who nodded slightly. Warriors fight because they enjoy fighting, she said. Survivors fight because they have to. Warriors seek conflict. Survivors seek solutions, Marcus added. Yesterday we could have killed every Reaper on this ship. Instead, we captured most of them. We could have destroyed their fleet. Instead, we convinced them to leave. Warriors would have chosen maximum destruction. Survivors choose minimum necessary force. The aliens processed this information with visible relief. The idea of humans as natural warriors had been terrifying. The concept of humans as natural survivors was merely concerning. Captain Zorish raised a crucial question. What does this mean for galactic politics? How do we integrate a species with such capabilities into our existing power structures? Elena smiled. The same way you always have. Through negotiation, compromise, and mutual benefit. Nothing has changed except your understanding of what humans are capable of. Everything has changed, Ambassador Thex disagreed. No species will ever again assume humans can be safely ignored or easily conquered. Elena nodded. That's probably for the best. Peace through strength is more stable than peace through weakness. High Commander Grax stood up abruptly. I formally request that the Kresh Empire establish military cooperation agreements with Earth, he announced. We wish to learn from human tactical expertise. This surprised Elena. The Kresh had been the most dismissive of human capabilities before the attack. Why? She asked. Grax looked embarrassed. Because yesterday 6 humans accomplished what an entire Kresh battle squadron could not. If we are to remain effective warriors, we must understand how you fight. Other species began making similar requests. The Veltar wanted to study human coordination methods. The Thornbacks wanted to analyze human equipment usage. Everyone wanted something from the humans now. Elena held up her hand for silence. Before we discuss any military cooperation, we need to address the fundamental question. What kind of relationship does humanity want with the galactic community? This was the moment she had been building toward. The moment when humanity's true position would be established. Earth seeks peaceful cooperation with all species, she said formally. We want trade, cultural exchange, and mutual defense against common threats. We have no interest in conquest or domination, but you could conquer, Ambassador Thex pointed out. With your natural abilities and determination, you could subjugate any species you chose. Elena's response was carefully prepared. Yes, we could. Just like the Kresh could hunt down weaker species, or the Veltar could manipulate trade through their superior mathematical abilities, or the Thornbacks could dominate through their natural armor. Every species has capabilities that could be used for conquest. She paused to let this sink in. The mark of civilization is choosing not to use those capabilities for domination. Humans choose cooperation over conquest. Not because we're weak, but because we're strong enough to make that choice. The room was completely silent. Elena could see the aliens reconsidering not just humanity's place in the galaxy, but their own choices and capabilities. High Commander Grax spoke first. The Kresh Empire formally recognizes humanity as an equal partner in galactic affairs, he announced. We withdraw all previous objections to Earth's membership in the Galactic Council. One by one, the other species made similar declarations. The vote to admit humanity to the Council was unanimous, but Elena knew the real victory was not political. It was the change in how humans would be perceived throughout the galaxy. No longer would they be seen as lucky primitives who had stumbled into space travel. They would be recognized as the apex survivors they had always been. Marcus approached her as the session ended. How do you think this will change things back on Earth? He asked. Elena considered the question. People will finally understand that our greatest strength was never our technology or our intelligence. It was our refusal to give up. She looked out at the aliens gathering their belongings and preparing to return to their homeworlds. Each of them would carry stories of human capabilities back to their species. The galaxy would never again underestimate humanity. Every human who travels to the stars will carry the legacy of yesterday's battle, she told Marcus. Not because they're all warriors, but because they're all survivors. And now everyone knows it. The celestial harmony began its journey back to civilized space, carrying with it a new understanding of humanity's place in the galaxy. The species that had evolved as persistence hunters on a death world had proven they could hunt anything, anywhere, under any conditions. More importantly, they had proven they would choose not to, unless they had no other choice. In the vast emptiness of space, other species would remember this lesson. The gentle humans who smiled and spoke of peace were the same creatures who could become apex predators in an instant. The key to galactic stability was ensuring they never needed to. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not through conquest or intimidation, but through the simple demonstration that strength controlled by wisdom was the most powerful force in the universe. The hunt was over. The real work could begin.